Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Trail Trash Podcast. Jason Garrett and John. And this guest here, when I need gear, there are two people that I look to for gear. Um, I look for the guy that's on tonight, which is Steven Kornhaus, and the other guy is Dave Dillon. Those two guys will give me the skinny on anything gear related. And so, needless to say, we have Steven Kornhaus on the show tonight. Yeah, Steven is very, I say, well known on YouTube. He's got a big time YouTube channel, does gear reviews, great race footage. I highly recommend the Leadville video. I highly recommend the No Business video. Uh, just really great content, and just really good stuff. The cool thing is, Steven was an East Coast guy and he's moved out to the West Coast. And what's interesting about him as well, he cut his teeth a lot of trail running at Frozen Head State Park. Really cool stuff. So thanks for coming on, Steven, and cutting out some time. I know you've got a ton of stuff going on, and we just appreciate you coming on. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you guys for a little bit and yeah, just trail dudes talking. Sounds like a lot of fun.
All right. So I guess I'll start us out a little bit. So Tennessee to Colorado, it's not really that surprising for people who are big time runners. Who I say big time, you definitely have hit some big races. Your wife runs. I had her and you on my previous show. So was there any what caused you to move from Tennessee out to Colorado? Was it just atmosphere change? What was it?
Pretty much atmosphere change, just the mountains. Obviously, it's gorgeous. Just the weather. The weather was a big factor. I think what started it was when I ran the Beaver Head 100K race, which is actually in southern Idaho. Fell in love with the mountains on the Continental Divide Trail. Just absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. Trails were awesome. Tried to get my wife to move to Idaho. That was nope, not gonna do it. Tried to get her to move to Montana because we flew into Montana, spent a little time there, me and my buddy. And she's like, no, there's way too much snow in Montana. Nope. She's like, I'll consider Colorado. And at that point, I was like, well, I was born here in Colorado Springs, so I can actually claim native status. We moved when I was like one though, so I don't really, I'm not from here.
Hey, it's all
But
what it says on
yeah,
that birth certificate. So you're
exactly.
you're from there. So.
But then so we decided to check out Colorado Springs. We flew out for a long weekend and did some house shopping, stayed with a friend that I served with in the military. We were actually stationed in Korea together. And so we stayed at their place and just my wife loved it. Just waking up and seeing Pikes Peak was gorgeous. And so we found a house we liked actually that weekend and put an offer in. Within that next week, we put an offer in on that house and got it. And so, yeah, basically it's just the weather, the mountains, the trails. I mean, you guys, you're all from Tennessee. I lived in Tennessee for, I don't know, what was like 8 years. That humidity is miserable. And I wanted to get away from it. We were all runners. My wife, my kids like to be outside. They didn't want to be outside in Tennessee in the summertime because it was just miserable. So we wanted better weather.
You went from humidity to snow. I don't know if you made necessarily better. You certainly
I
made
like
better
I
weather.
like the snow. Yeah,
Right.
like
Yeah.
the
If
snow
if
is
you like the
awesome.
snow, you made the right choice. But
And it's different here too, though, because like back, in Tennessee when it snowed, like we had a couple of big snowstorms in Tennessee. Maybe I remember back in 2015 we got like 12 inches of snow, something like that. But that's huge for Tennessee. And that shut the state down for like two
Yeah,
weeks. It was ridiculous.
absolutely.
Here we got 50 inches of snow this year, which is like one of the biggest seasons we've gotten in Colorado Springs apparently. But literally the next day, people are driving. It's normal. Like everybody's just used to it. Things don't shut down. It's just totally different. And then it's like 60 degrees in 2 days and it melts. So it's awesome.
There you go. So what's your favorite
So
part? What's your favorite part about running out there as compared to here? Since we're kind of talking about the weather, um, I know that you know, in your intro video on your YouTube channel, you've got that incline at like 90 degrees, and you're just like, do you seek out mountains? Is that why that area appealed to you, or was it just because that's the only area your wife would consider? Have you always been one of those the mountains are calling and I must go kind of guys, I guess?
Yeah, I've always, well, I wouldn't say always, but I grew up most of my life in Western North Carolina. So in the Smokies, kind of around the Asheville area. And then west of that, in Waynesville, Balsam, if you know where that is. I actually went to school at Western Carolina University in Silva. And so I've been in the Smokies like most of my life, up through probably, what was I, 24, 25 years old, something like that, when I moved away to Tennessee. Um, and it's just the trails, the mountains are different. I mean, the Smokies are absolutely gorgeous, just breathtaking. But the trails here are totally different, and it's more, I don't know. It's like the climbs here are endless. You know, it's hard to find, like, my wife's training for no business, and you know, I trained for no business last year while living here, and it's hard to find trails here that are good to train on, to train for a race like no business, because the biggest climb in no business is only like 800 feet. That's not very much.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
it's that
over
stupid
like,
horse trail, and it's
I know it's
dude,
horrible,
it's so
right?
bad.
It's horrible. But here, everything's like 2, 3, 4 miles up of climbing continuous. It's just like there's not, you don't have a short 300-foot roller. You're climbing 1,500 feet. So it's hard to find trails that are more flowy, or not quite as steep. So it's totally different. The trails are more, they're rock based, like the actual path that you're on, the footpath is a rock base versus like dirt and mulch and like leaves back east. So it's not, it's different. You know, there's so many routes back east, in Tennessee, all parts of the east. It's crazy. Here it's rock. And there's one thing that I love. If anyone's, you know, followed my channel, you know, you know that I have rolled my ankles quite a bit back east. There was a lot of leaf cover in the fall and the winter, and you step on a hidden root or a rock or an acorn and roll your ankle. I did that so many times. Here, there's no leaves on the trail in the wintertime at all, because it's all like deciduous, or it's all like deciduous or coniferous. I can't remember. It's all pine tree, evergreen trees. And so they don't shed a lot here, or you're up above tree line. And it's awesome. You know, I can run year round, even if there's snow, throw on some micro spikes, go out. It's great. I love the trail scene here.
so
So I would be remiss here if I didn't ask a little bit about running in the Smokies, because that's where I'm located right now, as you can probably tell by, you know, my backdrop
Yeah.
here. You know, I moved here last summer, been working on my 900-miler match since.
Nice.
So what were some of your favorite spots just in the Smokies, just off the top of your head?
Well, see, that's the thing, is like I grew up in the Smokies, but
Yeah.
I didn't start running until I had moved away. Now, I hiked a bunch with my family growing up in the Smokies. You know, we would go to Craggy Gardens, I mean, we would go all over the Smokies and hike. But running, I only got to come back and actually run in the Smokies probably a handful of times. And I love going up LeConte. I've done, the Boulevard Trail, Rainbow, or no, is it Rainbow? What's the name of the one?
The falls.
Yeah, Rainbow Falls. Um, yeah, I've done that. And then I did the, Thunderhead, Thunderhead Mountain, trail, which was great, coming up from Sugar Lands area, kind of going up there was awesome. But I mean, obviously, my favorite and the biggest thing I did in the Smokies was SCAR, the Smoky Challenge Adventure Run, and that whole section of the AT is just rugged and awesome. I would love to come back and go for that double FKT again, since I wasn't able to do it the first time.
For sure. That's absolutely like, one of my favorite runs I've ever done too was the Scar.
It's so epic. It's just, I mean, the trails are rugged. The views are amazing. The weather changes crazy. It's ridiculous how much the weather changes while you're on the trail there, because it takes you what, 18, 20, 24 hours to do it. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in the double, you should think about doing the AT plus the Bent Mackay segment and just do a full loop of the park.
I saw that. Isn't that kind of what is it Meg Landymore did? Didn't she do, or what did she call? Did she call hers the Appalachian High Route, which was like 300 and something miles? But she did like Scar and the Bent Mackay, and there's another trail that she did as well with it, I think. But that'd be really cool.
Right on.
Hey, I want to interject real quick. So we're a family-oriented show.
Nice.
Said no one about our show ever. Larkin, did you want to say hi? Okay, well, you can say hi.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
all right. You getting ready to go to bed? Okay. All right. Carry on.
Yeah, I had to kick all my kids outside so they wouldn't be screaming. No.
So how fast did you run all the epic stuff there? Like, did you like just go marathon, like go outside like every day and run all the epic stuff all as fast as you could?
What, here in Colorado?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like, like when you get like something brand new, you like are so excited about it, you like want to use it like immediately. Did you like go out and like just hit everything as fast as you could?
Not quite. Basically because of the altitude. So where I live in Colorado Springs, I live at about 6,760 feet is where my house is. So that's higher than like the highest mountain in the Smokies. And so, I lived in Tennessee at about 1,400 feet. And so coming here wasn't too bad of a change for me. Maybe 3, 4, 5 days, kind of had some congestion kind of thing, but then just got used to it. But then as far as running, I ran about probably almost 2 solid months of 6,000 to 7,000 foot kind of elevation or altitude. I would just stay mainly around the city, kind of getting acclimated to that. And then I'd work my way up to 8,000 feet. And I spent a lot of time going up to 8, maybe a little bit over 8,000 feet. And that was probably another couple of months. And then I finally went up to like 10,000 feet when I went up to, bar camp at 10,200 feet was the first time I'd gone up that high. And that was a change for sure. And then continued to train up to most of the summer because I had Leadville. I was going to be spending a lot of time in Leadville last summer. I tried to train up to about 12,000 feet quite a bit. And I was able to do that. And then I went up to 14, whatever Pikes Peak is, 14,115 feet once last year and once this year so far. But yeah, just trying to get acclimated to the altitude was the biggest thing. I didn't want to jump up to like, 9, 10,000 feet right away and then just be miserable. So I kind of tried to break myself in a little bit. And I think it worked because now I've definitely acclimated. I feel fine. Even this last time I went up to Pikes Peak, which I think was in December or January. I went up before a big snowstorm. I went up because there was some snow, but it wasn't too bad. And I was actually able to run above 12,000 feet, like on the trail some, which I was not able to do the first time I did. I was sucking wind like crazy. So I've definitely gotten more used to it for sure. My wife, on the other hand, she's not spent near as much time at altitude as I have training. And so if we get above 8,000 feet, she really starts to, she still feels it, even though we've been here now, what is it, like 15, 16 months. So it takes her a little bit longer.
So was Leadville what you thought it, like when I know out here in the East Coast we get an opinion of what Leadville's, it's like this epic race, right? It's Leadville for God's sakes, right? And like, like I interviewed Jason Lloyd who ran Leadville and he talked about, what it was like, but like from the standpoint of your expectations to what it was, did you feel like it met that for you?
Yeah, I think so. So I ran 3 races in Leadville last year. I ran the Leadville Trail Marathon. Then I ran the Silver Rush 50 marathon or 50 miler, which is in Leadville, and also the Leadville 100. So I kind of got some good experience in Leadville, camped up there several times at 10,000 feet. It's just beautiful. I mean, Hope Pass, Leadville, if anyone knows or watched, the Billy Yang films on Leadville or my video on Leadville, Hope Pass is every bit as brutal as people make it out to be. The front side of it's not terrible. But I mean, it goes from down in Twin Lakes, which is like 9,800 feet. It goes up to 12,000, like 400 over a period of like 4 miles. So it's a lot of vert and not too much distance. So it's bad, but it's not that bad. Coming up the backside though, it gains that same amount of elevation gain, but only in like 3 miles. It's so steep. I mean, it is. I don't even know. I don't remember if I looked at my watch or not coming up the backside, but it's got to be every bit of 35, 40% in a lot of places just climbing up. It's so steep. But as far as the race itself, Leadville, it lived up to the hype of being like this awesome, epic, one of the oldest 100-mile races, just gorgeous. The people, the spectators, it was by far the biggest race I've ever been a part of, which was just really cool. I mean, when we ran into to Twin Lakes. No, I'm sorry, not Twin Lakes. We ran into Outward Bound aid station. We were coming down. Gosh, what's the name of that descent? Now I totally forgot. Is it Pipeline? No, not Pipe. The one that's I can't remember now. Gosh.
Powerline.
Powerline. There it is. Yes, coming down Powerline. And we looked off in the distance several miles away, and we could see just this massive dust, like a dust storm. Turns out what it was is that was all the cars pulling into Outward Bound to park for their cruise. It was so dusty. And so as we got closer, we could see that. But there had to have been 500 people or more there, at least, probably more. And so I came into the aid station and I had to run, not even kidding you, about a quarter of a mile through people just to get to my crew. It was ridiculous, like insane. And so that atmosphere, everybody cheering, screaming, it was so cool. But I think
so. Here's the takeaway from that: run faster so you can beat everybody there. So
yeah, exactly. No, but I think like the biggest thing that shocked me about Leadville, of it being such a big race, so popular, everybody wants to get into it, and it's Leadville, was it's owned by Lifetime now, and that's changed things a lot. You talk to anybody that's been involved with that race for a long time, and they'll let you know that it's changed since Lifetime purchased it. The aid stations were very sparse, well volunteered. The volunteers were amazing, all just super cool. But the aid stations themselves, like I'm used to races like No Business that, Brian Gages puts on, or, Run Bum puts on races, his aid stations, they've got all sorts of hot food and pretty much anything you want. It's almost like a buffet. There, it was pretty much goo products. You had goo gels, you had goo waffles, you had goo Roctane, because that's their sponsor. And, you might have some potatoes and some fruit, but that was about it. I was really surprised at the lack of hot foods and foods at the race, which for me, I had a good crew, which was, we planned on it because we knew that ahead of time a little bit. So I was glad we had prepared. But I was just a little shocked at that because I was used to, East Coast where you're pretty much taking care of big, it's like it's a buffet, you got anything you want just about on the aid stations.
Let me ask you about your aid stations real quick, because you guys went vegetarian or vegan, correct? And then you kind of
plant-based. I won't say vegan because we still eat honey, and probably once a month maybe we'll have salmon. So I guess that's kind of pescatarian.
Pescatarian, yeah. Now, how has that affected how you plan for races? Now you've got to do a whole lot more digging on, maybe do you reach out to RDs and say, hey, what plant-based options do you have, or do I need to stock my drop bags with everything that I would need, especially at a race like that where it's a little more everything's goo and limited from there. Now, you said you had a great crew, so I'm assuming that everything was taken care of, but how has that kind of affected your race prep, if you will, when you're going in saying, "Hey, I'm so much more plant-based probably than most runners are." And yeah, just kind of shed some light on that because I'm not plant-based. Nothing against it. I just, if anything, I'd be more pescatarian myself if I could, but my wife and daughter don't like fish like I do. So I'm
Yeah. No, that's a great question, and it's definitely impacted the way I prepare for a race. But luckily, in the last since I've been doing ultras, which is 2018, I went plant-based in 2020. So now it's been just over 4 years. We started in January, so just over 4 years of being plant-based. Most races now have really good websites, Facebook groups where you can just be like, pretty much most races nowadays will have their runner's manual, which says what they're going to have or give you a general idea. So I always look that up. I definitely do my research on that part. Talk to other people that have run it. Go to those Facebook groups. Find out, hey, are there plant-based options? Do they have the biggest thing that like surprises me at some races that they don't do, and I just don't understand why, is they have chicken stock. Like available, where why not just have vegetable stock? It's the same thing, same sodium content. It's basically the same thing, except there's no chicken in it. So that's a big thing that races I wish more races would do, is have chicken stock, because then we can mix that with, if they have noodles, we can just make our own ramen essentially, and it's easy. But no, pretty much most races nowadays are very, very open about what they have, and I know what I need to prepare for myself. And I've always been more of a self-sufficient runner, that I typically bring what I need. I don't generally want to rely on the aid station just in case something's not there that I'm wanting. I want to make sure I have it. So yeah, I pretty much bring most of my stuff other than liquids, which even at Leadville, though, we did bring our own water, and we brought Gnarly Nutrition because they were on board for the video. We've given us some support. So I was mixing up Gnarly because I didn't want Goo Octane.
John is a big Goo Octane fan.
I've only tried it once, and I tried to get a cup of water, and I got it, and I spit it out instantly. So it was, I don't know, after one, it was probably just because I wanted water, and I had that in my mouth, and I was like, oh, this is not water. Yeah.
So any plans to do any of the 200s out there?
At some point. I've got a 200 miler on my calendar this year. It's a smaller race put on by the Human Potential Running Series. It's in Colorado. It's down in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. I think it's about 203 miles, 40,000 feet of elevation gain, if I remember correctly. And it goes up to 11,600 feet like 4 times. So I think the average elevation of that race is like 10,000 something. So it's a high race. Whether I can do that or not, I don't know, just because I'm still waiting to figure out some stuff with my hip. But that's my biggest goal this year, is at 200. And I did just see that Candace Burt is opening up registration for a new race in Arizona, the Arizona Monster 300. It's like a 306-mile point-to-point on the Arizona Trail, which that's really intriguing. So maybe at some point I'll do that. Who knows?
Human Potential, that's Sherpa John, isn't it?
That sure is, yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, I wanted to make sure that I was remembering that right. So,
yeah.
Where do you see, kind of leading into that there, where do you see kind of running going from here? Because Candace's thing is 200s are the new 100. Do we start to see a whole lot more 200s? She's got this 300. Where's the new ceiling, I guess? Because for so much of us, the 100-mile is the ceiling. But so many people are breaking through that. It's not necessarily a glass ceiling, but so many people are just shattering that and saying, okay, great, I did 100. What's next? It's almost like when you do your first 5K.
Even with like performances like Harvey at Biggs and Camille at the 6-day race that Lululemon put on, we're really seeing that goal line being shifted even farther now.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I see it ever increasing. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a point where it's like, that's it. I mean, literally I don't know the guy's real name, but Old Geezer on Instagram. If you're not familiar with him, look him up. He literally is the first guy to ever run the entire length of Africa, and he just finished, I think, today or yesterday. And that's
He has a beard reminiscent of John's. It's the
he
very
does,
big, that
yeah, he
red, that
does.
big giant red beard. And yeah,
Right.
he's a character for sure. But
I think people are always going to want to push their limits and find out what they can do. And that limit just moves. Like for me, I've told the story numerous times. I remember the first time I ran 9 miles. I was back, gosh, a long time ago. I remember now, it was a long time ago. I remember I ran 9 miles and I remember thinking, this is stupid. Why would anybody want to run a marathon? They're dumb. Like they're just makes no sense. I had a half marathon coming up I was training for, but made no sense.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
was
you know,
thinking
I
about,
went, what
oh
was
yeah, I
that?
was gonna say, I was thinking about that last week. How I can remember a point in time where, like, 5 miles for me was like a long run, and last Friday I ran like 34.5 miles from like the Sugar Land Visitor Center up to Cleveland's Dome and Bag, just completely self-supported. I'm like, man, this is kind of wild.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Like, yeah, it's just, I always equate it to a running journey, or we're all in different stages of that journey where we are. For me personally, I've done 500-mile races now. I've finished all 5, and I've gotten to the point where I know I can finish the 100-mile distance. Like it's not, as long as there's no medical injury. Like even in Leadville, I threw up twice, and that's the first time I've ever thrown up in a race. And I got sick, my stomach turned. I still finished the race. I walked it in from why am I forgetting the names of the aid stations? Gosh, the last aid station, there was like 12 miles to go. I walked it in from there, and couldn't drink anything, couldn't eat anything the last 12 miles. So that took us like 3.5 hours of walking, and I still finished the dang race. So it's like I know I can finish a 100-mile race now. And so that's what I'm so excited for about this 200-mile race now, is because that's a completely unknown distance. The furthest I've ever run is 136 miles. And so this will be completely new, something totally, I have no clue what to expect. And that's exciting. That gets me really excited, and that challenge. I think people are always going to push that out, whether it's somebody who ran their first half marathon and they want to do a marathon, or even somebody who's only run, a 100-meter sprint and around, a track athlete, then they decide they want to go do a 5K. People are always going to push that distance. And for some people like Camille Herron, she's going to go run 1,000 miles someday. It's just going to happen.
Quick plug. If you've not watched his Leadville video, because he's not going to plug himself, I'm going to plug him. Watch his freaking Leadville video. It is so good. I'm telling you, like he has great race videos. Give it a watch, because like you really get a good idea of what it's like being at Leadville. It's a great video. I believe I watched it when I was on the treadmill. And just put it on. I always like to put on videos of people running and doing epic things while I'm not doing epic things, because it inspires me to hopefully get out and do epic things. So it's really good, and definitely check it out. That and a race near and dear to Garrett, the No Business one, is fantastic,
I really appreciate
as
that.
well. Yeah, definitely give it a shot. So and watch it. So I don't know, guys. You guys want to move on to gear?
Well, I was going to say, let's go ahead, since you brought up his YouTube, let's talk about his YouTube channel. So, what started the YouTube channel? What made you want to get into that in the area that you are in with gear reviews and things like that? What spawned all that?
It was just a passion for trail running, honestly. Like I wanted to show people trails, trail running, and hopefully convert people from road to trail. That was the whole initial dream, just record my trail runs, maybe do a couple review videos here, show people that it's amazing being out in nature, surrounded by trees, animals. There's no cars buzzing by. You're not worried about getting hit by a car most of the time on a trail. But it's just, yeah, I wanted to share that passion, and it's just really kind of evolved over time. I'm still doing that, trail running and sharing my passion, but now it's, a lot more gear reviews, trying to do some better race videos like the Leadville video. I kind of separate the Leadville video because that's a documentary film, 40, a little over 40 minutes, where most of my other race videos, I call them like race vlogs because it's more me as the runner and just kind of that perspective. And so I want to do more documentary style films on the channel, whether that's, filming somebody else entirely and I'm not even in the film whatsoever. And I just want to film it and I really enjoyed that a lot. So I want to do that more and explore that. But yeah, the channel's really grown and it's just been cool to see how it's kind of opened some doors and things too.
So what was the first gear that you reviewed? Take us way back.
I think it was either the Ultimate Direction mountain vest that I had. I did a review on that I bought that vest. And then it was either that, a pair of Hoka shoes, probably, because I think Hoka was the first brand that I was able to connect with and sent me some shoes. And so I've still been working with them now for over 3 years. But yeah, it was probably that Ultimate Direction mountain vest, I believe. Yeah.
And at what point in your reviews did you think, there's something here. I could really make this work?
I don't remember any specific video, but the review videos always do very well. Especially, shoes, watches, I've done a lot of Cordos videos, a lot of different, pretty much every watch on Cordos I've reviewed and some other videos for them as well. Yeah, I guess just seeing when I was publishing a trail run video that maybe at the time was getting 100 views, but then I'd post a review video that was getting maybe 1,000 or 2,000 views. Like, well, this is a lot better than 100. So, I wanted to keep exploring that, and now it's grown substantially. Most of my shoe review videos now, after about a month, are probably 10,000 plus views. Some are at 30, 40,000 views. So it's it's really cool.
So I guess the question I have around that was like, so it's interesting you say that because I was listening to Dave Dillon and he said the exact same thing. No one, I don't want to say no one, but he does not get a lot of interaction with his running videos, but his review videos get like a ton of views, but he enjoys doing the running videos more. Is that would that be fair to say you enjoy doing the running videos more than you enjoy like the gear videos, or for you it's kind of a little bit of both? You enjoy doing both of them kind of evenly?
So I've kind of shifted I guess my business model for the channel a little bit over the last year, especially starting with Leadville. So starting with Leadville, I went from doing because before that I would do maybe 3 videos a week. And the last video or the first video of the week, Monday, it was always like a big trail run that I did on Saturday. And then I'd have like a review video in there, then maybe just some other update video. So I did away with that. And I went to like a series about training for Leadville. And so every Monday I had a video about the prior week's training. And so it was short clips from each day of what I did using, Strava to show what I did. And, I'd have a little bit longer clip of a trail run on Saturday, my long run, but then giving people a picture of what it takes to train for a 100-mile race like Leadville. So it was a bigger picture view, not so small, looking at everything as a whole. And, how many miles was I doing? How much elevation gain? And then I would do, one review video a week. So I enjoy both of them. I like doing the series because it builds a good community with people, because there's a lot more interaction from the same people on those videos that follow and are asking questions about something they remember from 3, 4, 5 episodes ago. They remember because, we built a community. The reviews don't have so much community. I have several people that watch any video, a lot of people that watch any video I put up, regardless of what it is. And so they follow, and that community's there. But then there's a lot more other people, not subscribers, that watch those videos that don't really interact. They might give a thumbs up, but that's about it. So you don't have that community there. However, those videos do a lot better and they can make more money. You know, my channel's monetized. I do make income, and that's how I'm able to go do some of these races, because you know, the YouTube advertising pays the bills for that. So, you know, I'm blessed to have a lot of great relationships with different brands and PR agencies where I, you know, get products to review, and, you know, the ads from YouTube, you know, pays for my trail, my race entry fees, my lodging and all that stuff. So I've separated it now. I know I'm going off a little bit, but yeah, I do enjoy both. I do enjoy both. I really, if I had to say what my favorite video on my channel style to create is, and I would have never guessed this probably 3 years ago, but now it's probably that documentary style film. Like, I really want to do that more. Like, I just want to there's a guy here in Colorado, I really want to reach out to him and just be like, hey, I want to do a video on you, and just tell his story, because he's really cool. But yeah, that's what I really would love to do more of in the future.
So Billy Yang style. Watch out, Billy. You got a new guy coming.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he was my biggest inspiration to get
His
on
stuff
YouTube,
is so
and
good.
he's what
Like,
got me into trail running,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah,
So,
his stuff is
yeah,
top notch. So
it
that's
is.
that's a good bar to reach for. So
Him and both Jeff Peltier, which I've chatted with Jeff a few times, and he's an awesome dude, but his films are, again, on a whole nother level. I mean, it's like a travel vlog and a race vlog, a video all in one. You know, he gives you the history. It's so cool.
Real quick, I want you to repeat his name so Jason can hear it and understand how to pronounce it correctly.
I can say his name because I watch his videos.
Jeff Peltier.
I watch his videos. I watch his
I
videos.
don't know. I think the record would indicate otherwise.
No, I mean, look, I watch his videos. I watch his videos regularly.
we just like to southernize some people's names here every now
There
and
you
then.
go. There you go.
So with Hoka, was it because we just had her on the show, was it Melanie that kind of helped kind of get you involved with Hoka? Was she your
Melanie,
contact?
no, with Hoka, I've got some folks that are through a different PR agency that manages their
I
marketing,
gotcha.
that I work with. But yeah, no, I've been literally been working with them for, yeah, probably 3 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think she's the rep for Tennessee. And I know I
I think
felt
I
like
met
you
her
were,
I think I met her at a run for No Business. She was out there, brought some shoes for people to demo.
yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
Yeah, she's always at that race. So.
Yeah.
So speaking of gear, how have you kind of seen it evolve over the past couple years? I mean, I know we've got the carbon plate. Every shoe company has a carbon plate shoe now, it seems. How have you kind of seen it? Have you seen companies start to split up and say, hey, we've got a cushion shoe and a performance shoe, or we're a race style shoe only, or where have you seen kind of companies branch out in that regard?
Yeah, that's a good question. With shoe companies, I think as a whole, shoe the last that the companies are using to make the upper for the shoe. So the last, for people that don't know, is like a form of a foot, essentially, that they form that upper over, and that's what gives the shape of the shoe. I think the last that they're using for that has gotten bigger. They're making shoes for people with more, as I say in my channel, more voluminous feet. And so shoes are getting bigger. There's a lot more material in the upper. I go to tie a shoe now, and it's like the upper is almost touching the sides because there's so much of it, and there's like laces are so long because they're waiting for a bigger foot. But I think running shoe companies are trying to branch out to people that maybe are, haven't been running a lot and are getting into it, which is good, very good. But I think the whole carbon plate thing, I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about it. I think in roads, I think it's great. In a road racing shoe, yes, absolutely. For a trail shoe, if you're going to be running on like the Virginia Creeper Trail or like a gravel road, yes, they work. But if you're going to go on trail, you're just asking for disaster. You're going to roll your ankle, potentially. Yeah, if you're going to do
Right.
Scar,
Yeah, I was
no
gonna
way.
say
I
the
would
AT
never
with the
wear
carbon
those.
plate shoe would be a disaster, a nightmare
So
waiting to happen. So
I
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
have,
yeah, like I
I
ran
have,
Scar in like Hokas, and man, even like out here, Hoka's just almost like too much for like some of this terrain. I just need something nimble.
yeah. Well, so I ran the Saucony Endorphin Edge is a carbon plated trail racing shoe. And I ran back in Tennessee with those like once, and I rolled my ankle like 3 times. It wasn't a bad roll, but I tweaked it like 3 times on one 4 mile run. And I didn't wear those shoes again in Tennessee ever until I got to Colorado. And now I love those shoes for like gravel roads or dirt roads. They're awesome. But trails, no stinking way. I think it's a marketing ploy by the shoe brands to charge more money. But they put a plate in it and they can instantly charge $50 more. That's all it is.
Yeah, I agree on that. Like even if you look at like the studies like Nike did when they were developing their shoes for like the Breaking Two project and all that, it looks like the foam they were able to develop is what really like gave them that 4% edge or whatever you want to call it, as opposed to the carbon plate, which is more gimmicky and more of a marketing ploy.
Yeah. I mean, even like I've got a review publishing tomorrow on on these shoes right here. These are hiking shoes that Hoka makes. This is the Skyline Flow X, and this has a P-Bax plate in it. So now they're like, I've got shoes that have carbon plates, TPU plates, P-Bax plates, all these different nylon plates, all these different plates. And once you get away from carbon, they're really not doing a lot else other than maybe being a little bit of a rock plate. There might be a little bit of propulsion, but it's not much. And so it's just, they can charge more.
it sounds nice when you say, "Oh, we've got this PBX plate,"
Yeah.
and all those things. So you're right. It's a marketing ploy. So, what about gear? I mean, we all want to be the lightest that we can out there. No one wants to carry a bunch of weight. So vests, it seems, are getting a whole lot more minimalistic, maybe less pockets, unless you're someone like Courtney who's going to run for 200 miles straight with no sleep at all and do it in 36 hours or however fast she manages to get it done. She may need a couple extra pockets and those things. But where have you kind of seen gear kind of, I don't want to say cut corners, but save weight and things like that?
Yeah, the hydration vests, there's a lot of them on the market now. I mean, there's so many good vests out there right now. I mean, my favorite is still the Salomon Advanced Skin 12. I love that vest. It's, I think, the most comfortable, best fitting, most versatile vest out there. Ultimate Direction makes awesome vests, really, really great vests. They just don't fit me as well. I don't really care for the way that they have the straps on the side versus making, I kind of say that the Advanced Skin 12 is like like putting on a form fit shirt. It just fits your body where nothing else does. But I think one thing I've noticed with the newer Advanced Skin 12, so the one that came out last year, the material or the zippers, I think there's a quality issue there. I've had 2 Salomon Advanced Skin 12 vests in the last 12 months, and both of them have had these zippers come undone. The front pockets, the zippers right here in the front, come undone completely, and the zippers come off. Luckily I got with my Salomon rep and they sent me another one, but I was able to actually fix the other one and use some like upholstery glue and keep it from coming undone some more, hopefully. But I think there's a quality issue potentially with those right now where they're trying to really save weight and it's at a sacrifice of durability where it's not going to last you very long. My buddy has one of his old Salomon vests that he's had for like 5 years, and that thing's still going strong. But these newer ones, I'm not the only one. I know there's several people that I personally know that have had those vests rip. Um, they're trying to save weight, like you said, but it's at a cost of durability. A brand that I think is going the other direction is Camelback. They just released the Apex Pro vest, which is the closest to a Salomon fit that I've tried so far. It fits really well. The pockets aren't as stretchy, so you can't get as much stuff in it. But I think that vest is going to last so much longer than a Salomon. Those materials are thicker. They seem more durable. It's a little bit heavier, but that vest I think is going to last a lot longer than the Solomon now. So I guess you kind of got to pick what you want. Do you want the lightest thing out there, or do you want something that's going to last you a while?
And I wonder if it's a scenario where there's going to be people are going to start catching up to Solomon, because I know, like with Koros, and I know you can probably speak on this a little bit, Garmin is starting to catch up with them from a watch battery standpoint, at least on length of time, right? I mean, Koros has always kind of been not always, but here more recently, since they've came out, has been more of the industry standard for long lasting battery, right? They've kind of hung their hat on being the watch that can last longer than any of them. But I know that from just reviews that I've have watched on Garmin's and stuff like that, where they're really starting to creep up on Koros on their durability with length of battery life. I wonder if that's kind of the same scenario we're going to start seeing with companies with Solomon catching up with them on packs, because I think Solomon's kind of owned the pack market for a while now, right?
Definitely.
So it's just a curious thing I was wondering.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious to see the new Ultimate Direction vests. They debuted at TRE last year, the running event down in Texas. It looks really cool because it looks like a vest like Solomon, but it's not like, as far as I know, I've not actually tried one yet, but there's no zipper. It's like you put it on like a shirt kind of thing, I think. And it looks really neat. So I'm curious to try that, because if that fits well and has the biggest thing with Ultimate Direction and Camelback is not, yeah, and Camelback, their materials they're using are not very stretchy. So when you have a front pocket, that pocket is not going to stretch to adapt to a headlamp or something big in that pocket. It's not going to stretch. So like this new Camelback vest, I could only fit like 3 spring energy gels in the front pocket, and that was about it. It wasn't going to hold much else. Where that Solomon, I could probably put 10 gels in there. I could put some salt tabs. I could put an extra battery in there. It's going to stretch. But yeah, no, I think companies are going to catch up to Solomon. Really, really curious and excited to see about this Ultimate Direction vest. I hope to get my hands on one here soon. But going back what you mentioned a little bit with Koros and the battery game, I guess we can call it. I'm wondering in my testing about the durability of the Koros batteries. To be honest with you, I've got 5 Koros watches right now, and one of them was replaced, because the battery stopped working on it. It wasn't staying charged. It's just they last an incredibly long time, and I'm really starting to wonder about the long-term wear of that battery, if it's going to still hold a 40-hour charge after 3 years, or if it's only going to be holding 20 hours. So I'll be curious with that. As I know, I mean, Garmin, Suunto, Polar even now, yeah, all of them have batteries that can go 30 plus hours. So it's definitely no longer Koros's world in battery life.
It'd be interesting to see if you could get some feedback from maybe the app, like you can with your iPhone. You can say what the battery life is, or what your, I guess with iPhones
Battery
when it gets to
health.
that, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
word I'm looking for. If you could get that battery health and be like, okay, now it's time for me to start thinking about replacing this watch, that would be probably some very beneficial feedback that they may not want you to
Yeah.
have. So
I would really love to see Koros. And I know this kind of goes against their current, I don't know, what they do now. As I would really like to see them release a watch that could compete with, say, the Garmin 255 or the 55, or something that has an AMOLED display. Give me some more smart features. Like you see right now, I'm wearing the Apple Watch Ultra 2. I love this thing. I wear this every day. To run in, I still wear my Koros watch because I want that history there of, I can look back at the year and see what I did. But for an everyday watch, if Koros could release something that had ability to pay for things like this. I can go to the grocery store and just pay with this. It's so nice. I can talk to my wife on it or text my kid. I've literally took a phone call at 11,500 feet on Bar Trail going up Pikes Peak while my daughter called to ask something. And I can't do that with a Coros. I can see a text message on a Coros, but I can't respond to it. You can't really do that with any other watches out there, really. But when other companies can do that, Apple's gonna have a problem.
For sure.
I mean that's what I'm wearing now. I've got the original Ultra, and I wear it round the clock, even for my runs, unless I'm doing a big race. Now, if I'm doing a big race where I'm going to need something that's going to need for more than 10 hours, then I may put a Coros on. But even this Ultra, first Ultra, I mean, I've taken it up and it's lasted a long time. I mean, for somebody who can run, a fast 50 miler, it's going to be probably good enough. 50K is going to be no problem.
I got my battery on this at no business to go, I think 23 hours before it died. And so that's going to get some people through 100-mile races. Definitely 100K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now do you use on the Ultra, do you kind of go through and use like that Ultra mode wherever you just kind of cut everything off, or do you just run it? You just run it, just hardline it as it is?
No, I put it in low power mode. And I was using the native app on the watch, not the Work Outdoors app that I have, but the native Apple Watch workout app. I had that set in low power mode. I turned off Bluetooth. I turned off Wi-Fi. Turned everything off that I could, and turned off the display brightness. I turned that way down. I have a video about it. I forget what all I did now. It's been a while, but yeah, I was able to get, I think it was like 23 hours and change before it died on me. I think I only had like maybe 6 miles left of no business by the time it died. So I was kind of surprised.
And the problem with Apple is, and one thing they'll never do, because they're so damn proprietary, is if they would make a watch that you could use with any device, they would sell so many more. Because that's the big complaint with them is you have to have an iPhone to use an Apple Watch. But let's say you were an Android user that wanted an Apple Watch because of the features. I know Marcus Brownlee, who his daily driver is a Pixel, but he wears his Apple Watch all the time. Of course, he has an iPhone too. He's a bad example to use because he's a millionaire techie. But my point is, his daily driver is a Google phone, but he prefers the Apple Watch to wear as his his activity device. And I think they're probably losing some market there, but I guess they know what they're doing because they make a cajillion dollars.
I guess they're not hurting too much.
No, they aren't. They aren't. So I guess my last question I have, and I'm sure the other guys might have some questions. My last question is, break it down. Give us what you wear, like your favorite shoes, your favorite pack, favorite watch. Like if you're running a race tomorrow, what would you be putting on?
I'm assuming a trail race, right?
Trail race. We can go. We'll go 50 miles.
Okay. I was gonna say let's go back to Leadville, but
the Leadville 50 miler. We'll call it a compromise.
There we go.
Well, the Leadville 50 miler, I wore the Hoka's and all 2, which is a fantastic shoe. I think 50 miles is a little much for that, though. I did start to feel it's a very, very, very thin tongue, so I did have some discomfort across the top of the foot. Excuse me. Let's see, though. I would probably now, if I was to pick a shoe for 50 miles, honestly, the one I just reviewed, the Solomon Genesis, I think that's a really good option if it's going to be technical. if there's going to be maybe some mud. That shoe is awesome. Maybe that, and then probably I'll pick a 100-mile shoe. I'll probably go with the Mafate Speed 4 from Hoka. I love that shoe. I've worn that for 300-mile races now. Love it.
That is a great shoe. No.
Working up a little bit. Let's say the socks. I'm going to go with the Exoskin Exo Toes. Love those. Every ultra I wear those. They're awesome. And then shorts. I really love my Hoka, the 5-inch shorts. They're the lightest, thinnest shorts ever. And underneath of those, I'm wearing Exoskin Exo underwear. Love those. You're not going to chafe at all. I've worn those for 136 miles, one pair. It was like 34, 35 hours straight, and they were fine. But then shirt wise, I love that. I love a Hoka shirt. It's nice and thin, it's breathable, but then also the Exoskin shirt's nice. Pack, Solomon, Advanced Skin 12. I mean, clearly, gotta have that.
Right.
Gotta have that. Trekking poles, the Lecky FX1, Ultra Trail FX1s are awesome. Love those things. Expensive, but they're worth it if you're going to be using poles. They are amazing. Watch, got to be the Coros Apex 2 Pro. The ability to put your GPX file on here, see nice maps, all of that for an ultra distance. I'm definitely going to be wearing that, but don't have to worry about the battery life. And then let's see what other gear. I guess to top it off, I got to wear my hat, my Ultra Trail Steven hat.
Have you used any path projects? Because you mentioned that the Hoka shorts are the lightest. Those, I forget which one it is, but path projects are my go-to shorts.
I wear them a lot to the gym.
But yeah, they've got one, and I love I love their system because they don't have a liner, so you've got you just change what you need to and go as you can. Like I think I wish more companies did that because I hate a liner. I will cut out a liner if they're in shorts. So.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Yeah, the Path Projects is awesome. They actually just sent me some socks, which they just came out with socks, and they're actually really comfortable. I love.
Are they?
Those
I'm
socks.
interested to see. Yeah, your feedback on those. So yeah,
I wouldn't wear them personally for like an ultra distance because I want the toe socks just to have that protection. But midweek runs, a 20-mile long run on the weekend, absolutely, they're awesome. I've got Path Project shorts. I've got a lot of their long sleeves. I've got a couple of hats, the Kafuzi hat. I've got that actually right here behind me. I love Path Project stuff.
Yeah. That what is it? The hoodie shirt that they have.
I love that.
Yeah, with the watch face. So long as you're left-handed, anyway. If you're right-handed, sorry, you're out of luck. But yeah, as long as you wear it on your left, that's a great little feature. So that's
yeah.
I kind of fangirl and have a crush on Path Project stuff, but
yeah, it's good. They make really good gear.
Yeah. I guess my question isn't necessarily a question for me. I'm going to ask John's question. So John has kind of been asking, he's looking for a shoe, right? And you kind of know where he's running in the Smokies there. A lot of technical stuff. He wants something that's nimble, but is also going to hold up and be durable enough for the terrain that he's running in. Based on all the shoes that you've reviewed, what one, and as much as we would love for it to come back, the Evo Speed Goat may or may not, because we don't know. Like if it came back, great. But what would you recommend for someone who wants something nimble enough that, because John's the fastest of the three of us, something that's light enough for his speed, but also durable enough to hold up to that area?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm looking at my current shoes that I'm reviewing and testing right now. For the Smokies, I honestly, I mentioned it earlier, I think this one right here, the Solomon Genesis, this thing is awesome, man. You got to get your hands on these and try. Well, it depends on, do you have a wide foot or a more average, normal foot?
That runs a little narrow, so I mean,
oh, this would be perfect.
I can do all the shoes that no one else can.
Yeah.
He's been in Solomon's a lot lately. So
I've been in Solomon's a lot. I've heard good things about the Genesis and also like the most recent generation of the Sense Rad. I haven't tried either of those out yet, but been doing a lot in the Sense Trail, the Sense Pulsar and
I love the Pulsar
Pro.
Didn't like that.
Pulsar Pro is a little light for something long, like say like 100 miler, but
Yeah.
Sense Ultra is pretty good too.
I'll tell you a shoe that I am incredibly excited about, which I should be getting my hands on here hopefully soon. I don't know, hopefully I can say that. Is the Salomon Pulsar Trail Pro 3. That
Yeah,
shoe looks amazing because I love the Pulsar Trail. That was my favorite trail shoe of 2022, I think it was. Maybe 23. I don't remember. 22, I think, but awesome shoe. And then the Pulsar Trail Pro was good, but I did not like the upper. I hated that one piece upper. It folds in. If you don't have a bigger foot, it folds in and created some hot spots for me. I wore that shoe when I won the Fort Frenzy 12-hour race, and I had hot spot and blisters from that. But it's supposed to be a combination of those two. It has a two-piece upper, so it doesn't have the one mono mesh. You have an actual tongue. There's more padding. It's a little bit more stack. So it's a little bit higher, which could be an issue maybe in the Smokies, but I think it would be a good choice. But for what's available right now, I'd get your hands on that Salomon Genesis and try it. It has a matrix upper like the Evo Speed Goat, so it's not going to rip when sticks poke into it. It has the quick lace system. The lugs are pretty darn nice. It has a stability element to it, which helps on technical terrain. And yeah, it's a cool shoe. I like it a lot.
yeah, I'll have to give it a shot.
There you go. All right, fellas, do we have anything else before we let Mr. Kornhaus go for the evening?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and let him drop where we can connect with him.
That's right. So why don't you drop all of the places that people can check you out so we don't miss any of it?
Well, it's only I'm not one of these people on every platform. YouTube is my main. Find me on there, Ultra Trail Steven, and then Instagram as well as Ultra Trail Steven. That's it. I'm not on any of the other many platforms out there. I probably should be if I want to be a little bit more successful, but I don't want to put that much time into that. So
Well, look him up, guys. He has, if you've not watched the video, I mean, unless you've been underneath the rock, check his videos out because he does excellent gear reviews and just has just great content. I enjoy the race videos a ton, but I'm a race person. I like watching videos of people like running in mountains and exploring and stuff. So anyway, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you very, very much. No hot takes tonight. We're going to end the show on more of kind of a somber note. The trail community here in the South lost one of our big time trail personalities. People, Hunt Brumbury passed away, and so we would like to send condolences out to him, to his family tonight as they work through all that. Hunt was a Yeti. He is accomplished trail runner and just an all around super. He was a super amazing individual. So anyway, sending condolences out to his family. So that is it for this week. As always, we appreciate everyone's support, and we will see you the next time. Have a good evening.